All right, there it is. Hi, everybody. I am Matt Basinet, and I have the honor of directing Adirondack Camp on Lake George in upstate New York. Welcome if you're here, and if you're not, hope you can join us or you can listen in. We've got some great people who will chime in during this session, but I'd like to give everybody a little bit setup time, so sit back, relax, think about some good questions, enjoy this beautiful Saturday, and we'll get rolling here. The first area I thought you may want a little bit know is who is this guy sitting here talking to you? I am Matt Bassinet, and I direct Adirondack Camp. I am part of a very qualified and I would say tied together team of administrators who have the honor of helping children have one of the best summers of their lives, if not many summers of their lives. I've been directing Adirondack now for 18 years. I am also an educator on the back end. I get to be the dean at a private school in Greenwich, Connecticut, and deal with children from grades 7 through 9. My wife is also a teacher, and our two children, Jack and Anna, get to play and come to camp and are active involvement in the camp. I started out with Adirondack as a camper and a staff, and the current owners, Sean, Linda, and Alex, all tight family with me. Sean and I, their daughter, were campers together and still tight and always on the same page. We have our program director is another camper, Mr. Joe Steiner. He's been involved for a few years. He's old, but he's a nice guy. And then we have Merritt Duffy, my assistant director, is also another camper. So we have this wonderful united front of qualified educators, and that's just at one small level. As you go down into our camp administration, we have a great sense of purpose. We have Chris Daughtry and Elizabeth Drum, who both help to direct and steer the campers and the staff. As we get all the staff advocates and camper people, it's so important to have, and they're both well experienced with children and are able to take care of them. And we can go all the way through our head of arts as an educator, our head of waterfront as an educator. We have a really wonderful team of people who are here to help your children have one of the best summers ever. Where are we located? At the camp, we are about 4.5 hours from Boston or from New York City. If you're a New Yorker, you're basically going to go straight up 87 and take a little bit of a right there towards Vermont. And then from Boston, you're going to shoot straight out I-90 and then maybe pick up 87 there. Or if you know the area well, you can hit up through the mountains in Okemo and Killington and slide past those mountains over Vermont into New York State. We're located in the Lake George Basin on beautiful Crystal Lake George, which is a lake, if you're not aware of it, it's about 30 miles long, one of the cleanest lakes in the world, and I say that not bragging, but it is one of the cleanest lakes in the world these days. We are in the northern end, one of the quieter ends of the lake. We have a peninsula surrounded by 3 sides of water, and we have about 1.5 miles of waterfront, and it takes about, I said, 4.5 hours from both major cities. From airports and things like that, we do transportation from the major airports on a limited basis as needed, and we also do buses coming up from the New York City area and the Tarrytown area, and we come up through that area. So, we're definitely accessible, but we're not right away around the corner. We like to be where we are. We have a wonderful opportunity to sort of get away from the hustle and bustle of our daily lives and to give these children an opportunity to have the best summer they can. A little bit about who we are as a camp. I get asked that a lot. What's the difference between Adirondack and other camps, and who are you? We have a program, probably 30-plus activities located on a peninsula on Lake George. We go from land activities, sports, water activities, the arts. music, and of course the using the Adirondacks and doing adventure and trips and such. So there's a great plethora, that's a good word actually, abundance of activities to your child to choose from, and we're very fortunate we have the facilities and we have the beautiful location to go from. As far as what we do, our biggest thing I would say is that we want our kids, and our philosophy is to instill self-confidence in the children that we get. Also to have a sense of leadership and sharing and creativity. All these are core values of our camp, and we hope that we can get them instilled and involved in themselves and understand who they are so they can bring that back home to you and everybody else. I'm just get my notes together, make sure I get it right. I would think that the next area, probably sort of where we are, philosophy, is what type of campers sort of are we looking for when it comes to Adirondack. I think we're looking for self-starters, we're looking for involved, fun, kids who are looking for that adventure, who are polite and genuinely want to be involved in our day-to-day activities. You know, we expose them to helping them grow and care, and we have a wonderful, nurturing, growing staff. But you know, when you have that core child who's willing to really step in and get involved, that's what makes the summer special. And you know, there's that age group that when they're all of a sudden, you know, when your child is ready and they just want to explore and go. And you know, our job is to give a safe, creative environment to let them be themselves and to grow and have a great time. Our campers come from all over the United States, and also we would probably have about 20 to 25% who are international. You know, we believe, you know, not having one area. If we can, we like to have kids from all over the world and to let them sort of grow and have the ability to go forward. I think our kids also need a sense of sort of purpose. I like when our children come and say, you know, we'd like to give a shot at windsurfing or swimming, and here are our activities. And if not, we help to grow with them at least a purpose of trying and going full forward. So, you know, we're a very open camp. There's not a religious background. There's not one area. I think we're all about nurturing every child that comes under our wing and making sure that they have a great summer and they can take all that strength back home with them. I guess the other side, once you have you know where we are, you have an idea of who our campers are like, and we can elaborate on all those sooner or later, and who I am. We also, I think one of the key components of any camp is the staff, and who are they, and where do they come from, and what are we able to get out of our staff. We have actually a very interesting group of staff. We have, you know, one sense we have a group of educators who are committed to children 365 days a year. We have a great administration team that does that, and we have them who are parents, so their kids are going to camp. They're teachers. They're health directors. They're insurance directors. They're able to really understand what it means to care for humans and be there, and that's a wonderful. We have an unbelievable supportive administration team that sinks all the way through even our mid-level. Our line heads, who are sort of our target people who are right there are helping our younger staff, are all committed people who are looking to really help children out. That's why they're there. And that's the number one sort of interview piece that we look for, is for people who care for children, who want to be there for them, and sort of remember and understand what it was like to go through the trials of being 7, 8, all the way through, you know, Lord knows, a 16-year-old, and the difficulties it is to survive all those experiences and have empathy. And I think that's a nice piece that we look for these people, remind them to come from. You know, we also have a younger crew that provides not only a ton of energy and ton of fun and enthusiasm and creativity, but also they have experience in the, on the activities that we're looking for. We've got former campers who are coming back and who have been through the process, and they help us to refine and rework sort of where we're going as a philosophy. But on the other hand, we have a great number of new staff from all over the world who bring their skills and their expertise and all their experiences so that we're able to adjust and make ourselves stronger through all these different views of life from all over the world. We're so fortunate, we have even I can start with our head chef, Carlo Pierre-Louis from Haiti, who brings a love of cooking and a love of food, and he's the head kosher chef at Brandeis University and outside Waltham in Massachusetts. So you have someone that you would not think would add a lot to camp, but his background, his love of food, everything like that, we're so fortunate to have even that piece. And you add that to even a young 18-year-old coming from Great Britain or China or from Spain, Colorado or New York or California or all these great places, even the Midwest, Indiana, really bringing all their experience to us. So we love to foster that and let them grow. On the back end of that, from our side as being a parent and having children at our camp, we're always looking forward to do checks on who the people are. We look at their background because they have to take care of people like this. We're looking at where they're from, what their record is like. In today's world, with the internet and with Facebook and all the interactions we have online, we have the ability to really get a different picture of these people. Not only what are they like at home, who are they actually working with people. It's not just that one simple reference. It's also a background check on personal and intelligence and education and how they act within their community. So we're looking to bring in the best people we can so that we can foster a community of growth and learning and safety. And that's, honestly what my primary job is, to provide that environment and then give the best people the room to grow and let them flourish and go. Because, there's nothing like having those role models established for our children where they can smile and you see your child and say, go windsurfing and be out there on the lake at age 10 or 11 or 12 and just have the independence and strength and come back smiling. It's just a great feeling. So our staff is a really nice sort of environment. So we've gone and established a little bit who we are, a little bit who our campers are, where we are, our staff, and how fortunate we are to have these type of people. I guess we could go more into a day-to-day sort of situation. One of the difference that I see in camps is sometimes the living environment and how that works. Every camp is structured a little bit differently, and I think the people respond to the leadership that they're given and also their own ability to lead. I think that's what we try to do. We try to give our staff the empowerment to make smart decisions in what they're going for. On that said, we run in a daily schedule where the campers are up around 7:30 in the morning, and they are running through a very healthy environment where they're going to be cleaning up. They're going to go have a breakfast starting at 8. Afterwards, they're going to go through inspection, and we're going to ask them to make sure that they are properly prepared for the day. In the morning, we run 2 activity periods, and where the activity periods, I think, different in Adirondack from other camps is that our cabin staff and some camps have these professionals who aren't living with the campers. They have their own private housing, and then they come in and teach windsurfing and water skiing. Our windsurf and water ski staff, we ask them to primarily be with the campers so they understand where they're coming from. They understand these kids on a broader basis, and they're able to grow and nurture with them. So our campers are having independently pick their schedule, move into these activities, and we run 2 activities in the morning. We run a lunch. Of course, we have a little downtime in the afternoon, rest period, and a period we call adventure period, where we can mix things up a little bit depending on the heat of the day and the weather. We run 2 more periods in the afternoon, then we run a dinner and an evening activity. So the day is scheduled, structured. We're trying to provide a sense of structure, I think, for all the campers, but within it, they're choosing their motion and who they're going to be and where they're going to head. We like to give the parents some input on how that schedule is formed, but we also want to give the children how that schedule is formed, a little input. At the same time, find a balance and hold it for a week. We want them to have an ability to learn something. Again, just dappling your toe in something is great, but if you're able to actually try it again, and then next thing you know, it becomes a passion, and then you want to return, and then it becomes a lifelong skill, and that's what we hope to instill and allow these children to get these brand new skills they didn't know they had. Wow, I can roll a kayak, great. Next thing you know, they're going down the Canadian Rapids in Ottawa. It's just hopefully we can move all our children into growth experience, whether that or the arts, whether it's the land and sports, or to go hike the Adirondack peaks, to go through all the 5 Alive peaks in the area. It's just fabulous. I would say the other thing that I think differs from Adirondack from other camps is our living style. There's a word in our description that is there on very much on purpose, and the word is rustic. We are a rustic facility designed to definitely incorporate the beautiful nature that surrounds us, the lake, the animals, the wildlife, and just to understand that to have our families that are with us and our staff and our campers to slow down a little bit. Our cabins are, if you can describe, I always describe them as somewhere between a tent and a hotel room. I think it's somewhere in there. We're sort of we're a open air cabin where, in order to close off from any driving rain, we put down shades. There are 16 total people in each cabin. 13 would be campers. Sometimes we might get 12 campers if we add a CIT or we add a 4th staff in there, but the most we have 13 campers and 3 staff in those facilities, and they're open air. You're in no electricity cabins. They are just tucked into bug nets at night in a bunk bed. Staff are helping them out there, so it's a very rustic environment, and that is very much so on purpose, very much so targeted to who we are as a camp. We've been that way for over 100 years, and the idea is to appreciate the gifts that were given and the subtleties of this beautiful area, the nature, to be outside. It really is one of the most wonderful times that I think, and we actually do that on purpose to make sure that we are having a camping experience and not just we're out there doing high-powered sports, or you're inside with air conditioning. The idea is that we are having a camping experience. So hopefully that goes well with most children. There's an adaptability to being living in a tent and going out on a camping trip, and then we have when they come back to the cabins, it seems like a hotel. So it's a really nice mix of back and forth. So we're a rustic environment, but the number one possible, or the number one focus we have, is to bring the best people in, whether it's the best campers, the best staff, the administration. All the pieces fit together under one goal is to help your child and my child there too, to have the best summer so that they can step forward and grow and find empowerment within themselves. Part of that really important team that we have a group of staff that come in and out, and I would think getting them involved in the situation, because I really am not a one-man sort of show on this piece, although I have been so far. Didn't know if anybody had any other questions or what's going on, but maybe Joey, I don't know, I'd like to pop in Joe Steiner, because he's not as fuzzy as he was last time. He looks good. And Joey, what do you think about our program? I mean, we are who we are. You've seen some other camps. How do we set ourselves off from different camps? What do you think our strengths are? Maybe even some of our weaknesses. What do you think? So Joe Steiner, he's a 6th grade teacher here in Connecticut also, and Joey's our program director. Afternoon, Joe. How you been today, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing well, doing well. So really what I think really sets us apart as far as a camp when it comes to our programming is that we are almost entirely elective driven. We do have some required activities for our youngest campers to help with some cabin bonding and really bring them into the atmosphere of camp. But apart from that, all of our activities, with the exception of one swimming period that campers are required to take, are all entirely driven by what our campers really want to do. And we have some campers who focus entirely on water sports, some campers who focus entirely on land sports, some campers who choose to go along the full gamut of activities. But if we know the sorts of experiences the campers want to have in terms of their activities, we really are able to make that happen for the most part. As Matt said, our 1.5 miles of waterfronts is absolutely beautiful. It gives us a chance on the less crowded end of Lake George to really give our kids a chance to have some unique experiences on the water, to windsurf up and down the lake, to water ski, to take canoeing trips to different destinations on Lake George. Our arts program has really been growing over the last few years, including the sort of traditional camp crafts and arts and crafts. Culinary fun is an extremely popular activity that we have, and even into more 21st century kind of arts and technologies with eagle eye video, a little bit of photography that we do sometimes, and performing arts classes that have really been burgeoning over the last few years. And then when it comes to the land, between tennis and archery and fencing and beautiful rock faces, not only on camp, but very close to where we are, we have such a range of experiences that our campers can take advantage of, and we can really tailor the program to what it is that they want to do.
Nice. Hey, I was thinking as we're talking about our activities and about, I was thinking about staffing, and it's so interesting because when we look at different camps, we are unique to, I mean, Elizabeth, you can see maybe more, and Chris, you can too, is that I don't know how many camps actually have the staff is engulfed and incorporated in the cabins and the activities and the child. I mean, I know as a private school teacher, and Joe, you can comment to this too, is that I know my students probably better because I'm down there, whether I'm coaching a 7th grade girls soccer team, for a season, or I'm doing a boys ice hockey team, or running cross country, or whatever it is, or see them at a school dance, or you see them in a varieties. It's not just one little piece. You see them in evening activities, a casino night, and I wonder. I mean, you have a balance of our, you have the experience, and we have so many people who have that experience. Do you think it helps that our staff is incorporated? I mean, they get a little tired. I mean, Lord knows we all do. But do you think that's a good thing? I mean, you and I are both sort of private school, and Elizabeth, you're more a public school person. I don't know if we see this as a strength or sort of a balance, or I guess it's a parental choice of what type of staffing you want your camp to have.
No, I think it's great that all of our staff do it all, and they're qualified to do it all. I know a lot of camps have, staff who work with the kids in the cabins and live with them and help care for them, but then during the day maybe the kids rotate from station to station for different activities. But we're set up a little bit differently, where our staff are teaching the kids during the day, but then they're also the staff that get to sit around the campfire with them at night, or plan those talent shows in the evening. So the kids get exposed to so many different people who are truly invested in them, not just for an hour during the day for a particular activity, but throughout their whole day. And I think that's a huge asset.
Yeah, and you have, I think, Joe, I mean, we have those discussions, whether it's going on a hiking trip, a Five Alive, where's Joe today? Well, he's gone with 6 kids, wandering a mountain. Okay, you come back, and then it's amazing the experiences I know that I have. Sort of, I remember, hiking with Daniel Carbonell. Now that I know Danielle and how we grew up, and we talked up and down the mountains, and you come back and you have meals, and you see him, and you're just checking in now, and now it's just amazing tightness and part of your family notion. So I think that's one of our biggest strengths, is that we really do immerse ourselves with your child, with in camp. I mean, it becomes sometimes old guys like me and Joe, we we get to, actually go out and be youthful, and the ability to smile and to learn from the kids so much. I mean, some of the stories, and you're hiking up a mountain, or you're doing an activity, and the 7-year-old just goes zipping by you, or hops up on that windsurfing board, and you're flat on your face in the water, and you're like, oh, come on, and the kid actually helps you. I love that. The interaction is great, and then you get to help that child to grow in their own ways. You pick them up, you help them out. It's a really great nurturing experience. So I don't know. I guess there are different philosophies you can have as a camp. I think we've sort of set our sights on a facility that's really geared towards a family, and top down, from Alex and Linda being the owners, all the way through our youngest camper. Even our maintenance facility is guided by individuals who have been there over 30 years, keeping an eye on this peninsula and making sure that we're all directed towards a very good, sort of rustic but child-centered facility. And that's rare, I think, in today's compartmentalized world, where we all think we have to be perfect in one way. The goal here is for us to be together and all supportive. So it's a nice mix. Someone who chimed in there that maybe I sort of didn't quite introduce too well is Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I would say that she is our guiding spirit of our crazy little pack of wolves. But what Elizabeth is also, she's also a guidance counselor out in the Midwest, Indiana. Indiana, right? I get that right?
Ohio, yeah.
Ohio now. And the key there is Elizabeth has a really good sense of the growth of the campers. I think that really helps us sense of where a child is, not only the physical growth, but the mental, the emotional. We're there to help the children all the way, and have someone as guiding, like Elizabeth. I mean, she and I both get to deal with children all year during the school year, but we have a sense, and if you have questions coming in about how we handle children, how we handle things like that, that's a really good sense. Ask us. Don't be afraid to do that. On that sense, it might be an interesting thing. How do we deal with situations at camp when they arise? How do we communicate with the parents? How do we deal with emergencies? Did anybody just see my daughter back there? What's she doing? I don't know. I don't want to know. That's what you get. You have a parent. You have your own kids. How do I deal with my child back there? But the key here is going to be what happens when your child arrives, and we have troubles, because that's going to happen. That's part of we expect to be able to help and grow, with your child. So one of the ones I think the people who are also involved, as Elizabeth and Chris, maybe you guys can chime in on this, is when we get new campers, what are we looking for? How do we help them involve themselves in camp? How do we stay in touch with the parents? Items like that. So. Chris Daughtry is here. Chris, I don't know if you're still on mic or mic'd out, but Chris is a guiding force in helping communicate with parents. You've probably already spoken to him already if you've called into camp. And the idea, what do you think, Chris? Like you guys are both sort of our newer staff of the people that are with us. What do you think? How are we doing? How do we handle our new environment, our new campers to camp?
Well, I mean, there are a few different ways that we stay in contact with parents and also help campers throughout the summer dealing with different situations that may come up. One of the things we like to do is keep the parents involved in everything that's going on. So it could be anything from maybe your child, their first night at camp, they were a little bit homesick. So you may get an email from the line head that says that, last night was their first night at camp, they were a little homesick. We talked about what they missed about home and what new adventures they're going to get to do at camp that they're really looking forward to, and we would keep the parents involved every day to let them know how the situation is evolving from there on out. There are lots of different things that we do with campers to help them deal with homes, missing home, or anything from maybe they're not getting the activities they want, or maybe there's a food issue, maybe there's something that they miss, that they have every day at home that we just need to communicate with the kitchen to make sure we can get different food items. So it's talking with the campers, spending time and getting to know them. I think that's one of the benefits, kind of going back to having our staff not only teaching the activities but living in the kits with the cabins. In the cabins, it allows staff to pick up on those small things like, oh wait, this child really likes broccoli, and then we haven't had broccoli all week. It'll make them super happy to have some broccoli, and it's just small things like that that can change the course of camp for a child. So communicating up the chain and making sure we are in contact with parents by email, phone calls. We also do those from us, and parents can also contact their kids by email. We encourage our campers to write letters, and we will even scan and email a letter to the parents if a camper writes a letter that needs to go home. So there's just a lot of different things that we do to make sure that parents are involved in what's going on at camp with their kids, and also make sure that kids feel welcomed and have a great time at camp too.
That's a really interesting point, Chris, is that, as a parent, I know, my wife Nina's involved, but where they're in camp, but, a lot of parents, are worried about, depending what camp you're in, some camps have a shutdown, no communication policy. Some have, show up whenever you want and take your kid out to the mall, and, it's just a day camp sort of philosophy. I think we find ourselves a little bit in the middle of that. But it's funny, I'm looking at Joe and Elizabeth here, and we're all involved in schools. And as a teacher, and I don't know, Elizabeth, you can speak to this also on your side, and Joe, I find it's so important to keep open channels with parents about the children, because there's answers or questions, and I love the communication. We worry about the child missing home, but if we can develop a home sense with us, and the child knows that we're communicating, it really helps us to help, where the child is. Elizabeth, like, when your school, what's it like when you have a situation you're trying to communicate with parents?
Right. It's much better if you've already got that connection established, if you have a concern to communicate home. But one of the things that I like that we do at camp is, we gather a lot of information from the families when we're enrolling the children to find out some background and make those connections. But in addition to communicating concerns home, we also put a lot of effort into communicating successes home as well. And parents, I think, appreciate, they get an email every week with a cabin update of things that their child has really enjoyed that week, things that the cabin did as a group. They get a letter from the line head, the person supervising that age group of kids, with all of the events that have gone on at camp. Our assistant director sends out an email with an update. We have a full-time photographer whose job is to post several hundred photos on the website every day. So I know parents really appreciate being able to log on and see their child's smiling face as they caught their first fish, or any other milestones that happen throughout the day. And in recent years, our videographer, who posts videos periodically of some of the things we've been up to. And that, I think, is what's really a joy, is to not just be in communication with parents when there's something that we're worried about or concerned about. It's when we get to communicate all of the awesome things that are going on too.
Right. I mean, you start thinking about all the ways. I think Adirondack does, but any camp communicates with their. It's not like we're at normal school. We send them home. We have a phone call or email. But there is the videos, the photography, the labeling of the campers, and not to mention the email connections. And then we don't even go that there's if the parent really wants to talk to their child, we set up a phone call. But we don't try to just say call willy-nilly. The goal is to call during a scheduled time, so that we're not pulling your child or my child or anybody's child from a set activity. We want to say, okay, their downtime is a good time to chat with you, because we don't want to say, oh, you're going to miss water skiing to talk to mom or dad or your uncle or grandfather, grandmom. We want to make sure that we have a set time so that the child has time to communicate clearly with you. But emailing and all those things is crazy. Joey, I don't know, when you and I'm about to head towards my end of my term, and you and yours and our parent conferences. It's so amazing how quickly we can clear up things with clear communication with the parents. I know, you know what I mean when we're having parent conferences or things like that.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, like Elizabeth said, we work very hard at camp to make sure that we have those relationships established and those communication channels open, because both for when things go really well and when we need to communicate home about something that maybe didn't go so well, we already have that relationship established. And I think one of the good balances that we also find, in setting certain times during the day when we have phone calls and communicating through emails and also through photos and videos, is that in addition to being connected, we then give the kids a chance to really immerse themselves in the experience of camp, and get everything that we can offer for them and everything that they can get out of that experience. And as they're having those experiences, that's just creates all the more positive situations and the growth of confidence and leadership opportunities that are things that we really enjoy being able to communicate home.
Right. I mean, the hard part is when all these things go well, and then the child doesn't want to talk to the parents, or I know when my wife alone, when my son wanders by her, even we're at camp, and he just goes by to his activities, and she's like, he misses me. I'm like, no, he's having a blast. Usually, no news it can be good news thing or back and forth, but it's a balance between the touchstones, and ultimately we'd love to have that parental complaint like, I haven't heard much from my child, and we're like, here's your child, and the kid's like, having a great time, gotta go, and it's sad as a parent because your babies are growing up, but then again the growth and the leadership, and then you get them home and they're communicating clearly with you, and they have this autonomy, and they're cleaning their rooms, and they're actually making smart decisions about the friends they're choosing, and the right sort of yes and no's, and it's really a wonderful balance of it all. So I think that we look at the growth of your children communicating. I think that's great. When we do have trouble, I think how a good camp or any facility, a school or wherever your child is going to, even a sports team, is when things don't go well. How do we communicate that? And we have a really good team. If we stay with this sort of working with kids when things don't go wrong. We have, if things are a difficulty adjusting, we try to have the cabin staff work, and we work on the ground level with our line heads, and I find that getting the children involved in activities and making sure we tweak the activities so they can make sure it's what they're hoping to do, and we get them going there. As far as communicating with parents, we can, if we'll maybe have a staff member who's in the cabin call at home and maybe get some insight. The line head can communicate back and forth through emails or calling home. We have our assistant director and our camper advocate, Merritt Duffy, is always in communication with parents. What can we do to make things better? Is there, someone needs socks? Something that's simple that we want to make sure is taken care of, and or it could be as big as a brace popped off your teeth, or we need to go see a specialist in the area because that's just part of the ongoing treatment. We're all there and trying to handle all the individual needs of every camper, and I think that's what's nice about Adirondack, is that we're not that big. We aren't a cookie cutter. We're not owned by a conglomerate trying to make money, on the side of owning 4 or 5 camps. This is not a camp group. This is an individually owned private camp, and there aren't many of us left in the world who are there geared towards the individual, towards each child, and trying to make the best summer they are. On the more logistic side of operations, we can start again. I think Joe or Elizabeth or Chrissy mentioned the food and how important that is. Our chef, Carlo Pierre-Louis, has been with us, I want to say, is this his 12th, 14th year now? It's got to be at least 14 years, right? I lose track when, it's like an old friend you just think has been in your life forever. But he has been there, and we have a wonderful set of food, and he's very able to cater to where we can and buy, nutritious food, not only but the food the kids are going to eat. Because if you ever had a picky eater at home, you know what I mean. It's sometimes difficult. But we also, besides just the pickiness of a child, we also have health needs. We do have options for vegetarians, and we even get an occasional vegan that comes in, and those are, just fixing the foods, but then you have the real health needs, such as we are a peanut aware camp. We can't say we're peanut free. I don't think any facility in today's world, the small writing on the package of anything you get today, prepared in a facility that may have peanuts, but we do our very best to be peanut aware and nut aware, so that we're trying to make sure that we have a balance and we try to show the children what we're eating and up to them. We are lactose. We have lactose individuals. And then again, the big one these days is the gluten-free environment and how that cooks, and we have to worry about crossover in the kitchen. It's an amazing operation to see. I mean, at times I go in and Carlo is actually putting together close to 12 separate, different type of prepared meals for our body, not just one, put the spaghetti out and go. It's an amazing operation. So just food-wise, we try to be attentive and working with the parent. If there's special needs, some parents actually say, hey, look, we'll bring the food in, we'll help get some of these. It's hard to get exactly what you're looking for, especially with these specialized diets. Then, after that, as far as activity goes, we can't quite yet, depending, during certain structural things that we have to meld to make sure they have the best and most productive day that they can. When things do, we do have a really gifted sense of health. We always have 3 nurses who are living on camp. They are there to be our moms and make sure they keep an eye on and the cuts and the mosquito net bites and the bruises and the sniffles and the coughs and the earaches, and if something's not going right and we try to have them check in with the child, we do send them and get prescriptions. We do have clinics. There is a good section of camp, I think probably 4 to 6 weeks now, Chris. I think we have a doctor in-house making sure and keeping an eye on things. So many little things happen, as you know, being a parent, you're always worried about, how is that going? Can we prevent that little infection from growing into something larger? And I think that's part of the growth factor that comes into our environment. When you have good administration and things set up to provide the support, it's great. But the number one thing I think any camp can do is the training of their staff, and we spend a great deal of time, probably, I don't know if more or less than other camps, but actually focusing on how to help our staff care for your child. Something as small as checking for, well, is that a new cut there? Is that a bug bite? You look great, put some weight on, lose some weight. How are you feeling? Boy, you sound snuffly. How can we handle that? Being aware of your campers and us being aware of our staff, the same notion. If we're all taking care of each other, those little things add up to a great number of happy experiences, and we can avoid the little things. As many mentors spoke to me about, if we take care of the little things, the big things are going to end up taking care of themselves. And our training of staff, we spend time talking about how to handle if a child's missing home. What do you do if a child is not feeling well? How do we approach this communication? Where does it go? And I think those things are paramount in caring. As you know, as a parent or dealing with your child, there's nothing like catching something early. Noticing, the classic is noticing, is the footwear the right way, or you have, is the child dressed properly for that day or that activity? Just keeping an eye on those little things, because sometimes they don't get things quite right all the time, and neither do we. And if we're all double checking each other, it helps a lot. So, I think those things. I don't know, you guys who are there, is there anything you can think of that, as far as we, need to, or as a camp looks at as far as preparing or helping kids in and out? Just don't want to lose this track, but I think we're doing pretty well. I think we guide for our administration, our healthcare, our food, our staff. Just being aware of everything. Is there anything else in your brains that you can think of that we need to focus on? No, all right, they're all pretty good. I think we're doing all right. That crew's good. I mean, emotionally, there's also something said to be just to have downtime, and when something goes like that. I would think one of our keys to camp, I think we look at, how to focus on a whole child. We like to provide a home environment. I think home is a good word to use, and that we're able to open doors and to help them enter new facets of their lives. And I think looking at each child individually is an important aspect. We've covered a great deal here, and I don't know if Chris, you can maybe see if we have people out there. If anybody has any questions for the crew, happy to answer. Chime in. You can type them in, and we can answer them up. But I think that the number one philosophy, sort of to go back, is that we've got a really strong team of committed individuals, and I say committed, not in that they're committed towards the growth of every individual child, and we work as a good team, and we're always trying to get things better and improve. We're always trying to provide a safe, nurturing environment for the children. And there are days where healthy risks are part of the community. You want to, getting up there on that cliff, safely harnessed in and going over the edge, and then going, wow, that was really great, rappelling down that 30, 40-foot cliff wall, or hanging out in a sailboat and learning how to move that, or windsurfer, or sports-wise, basketball and soccer, or archery and fencing, and just really pushing the kids in new ways. We're, again, I guess, rooted in a philosophy of individuals. We really want to make sure that every person finds their space, but it's also a respect of in individuality and ability to let people be themselves, because ultimately when you get back home in our crazy worlds, they have to be able to have strength in themselves. And I guess the last thing I can think of in my brain is the strength of the beauty and the love of Lake George and Adirondack Camp, and that we strive to let them understand and appreciate the beautiful area that we have, and how fortunate we are. And when you have a dog barking over your shoulder, chiming in on things like that, it makes a lot of sense. Chris, do we have anybody asking questions or anything like that? I'm sort of I've done really well. I've got about 50 minutes of Matt chat time, but usually I'm answering questions and having interplay. This has been a very good experience for my brain, or not good experience, however you look at it.
We don't have any questions right now, but if anyone that is watching does have questions, you can submit them on the right hand side of your screen. Just type in a question right there, and then we'll be able to answer any of them that you have.
That's that thing. What's our, we're looking at the summer. Joey, you and I are going to try to get down in activities and have fun. I think we'll get Elizabeth down there. And, one side of activities that we really didn't talk about is, the ability for the kids. I think we have adventure period and the ability for us to create things. And not only besides our structured times, I know, Chris, you're about to, talk about this later with a group of staff, but we also bring in a lot of really great people who have outside expertise. You start with this group right here with Elizabeth's strength and children and dealing with all the little nuances of emotional growth. Joe is phenomenal in the scheduling and also his educational ability. Chris is fabulous with kids and staff and trying to work it out. But we also bring in so many guest people. If you guys think of it, how many different people come in during the summer that we actually actively pursue to come in. We bring in guest artists, to come in to do different things. What are some great people we brought in over the years? We had, if you've seen our videos, we had Jared Kingsley come in and do the silent disco out of the blue. Jared is one of the best, DJs, a former camper, but now one of the best DJs, I would say, in the Albany area, and just rocks it out, and we had a great time there. Who else have we brought in? I'm going a little brain dead now, but we have some great outside people that come in. Ron Splatt, water skiing, Frank Shaw, fabulous, tour guide in the Adirondacks. He just happens to come in and do some kayaking with us, but he's one of the top, whitewater guides, in the Northeast. It's phenomenal. And Peter McFarlane, Vivica and fencing. These are all adults who actually come in through the program and have this passion that they instill. Who else do we bring in? Do you guys have any other names throughout there?
Well, I mean, you can look at the different guest artists. We've had everything from former campers who grew up at camp and have come back and taught, different activities, to mosaic artists that have come to do mosaic art projects with the kids, to Native American guest artists that come and teach about, the ways of Native American living and put up teepees on the ball field and, teach children about the different things that they did back then. So we have all different styles, and just doesn't necessarily pertain to the arts, but a lot of different people who come back or who are top people in their industry that want to come and visit and spend time with us to help our campers maybe get more advanced skills in different areas, or just bring something different to camp to just have something new that we don't necessarily have right now within our staff.
Yeah, I love that. I love that we get people in who bring their passions to camp. I mean, the top one it's always been on my list is the Coombe, Ron Coombe, who is part of our archery. How many people do you find that have a passion for archery, besides falconry? I mean, that's another side thing, but brings it in and loves to teach it to others. I mean, those are the type of people that we, it's funny how many of those people you find in the world, but how nice it is as a parent or even a teacher or any style when you get someone comes that really knows what they're talking about. It's that specific coach you may have on a team that brings in someone that really knows a different level. And we get to do that at camp. We have people actually knock down our doors and say, hey, can I come, for a week? And we're like, get you in. But it's amazing how many great people come in who want to share their expertise. And even for a day or two, you get the czar, the Zarinsky, the scuba diver guy, Joe, that comes in, and he's written historical books on Lake George. And we just happened to meet him on a chance dive in the lake, and now he's a regular, sort of once a summer. He brings a team of divers, and they're going down the lake, and they're bringing up different items and artifacts. And he's written books about different, war ships that are on the base of Lake George and the history of Lake George and other lakes in the region. He's one of those small little, people that come in, and all of a sudden our children are exposed to this great skill. On that note, we also get a chance to opportunity while we're trying to care for kids. We use the existing environment so well. A lot of these people, some are local, some are summering in the area, and we go out and we actively seek these highly qualified people who are coming to this beautiful area to spend their summers. We also even have things, bring in art program, as Chris said, but we also have an educational program such as the floating classroom that goes out onto the lake. And I was talking with my son the other day. He's taking a 7th grade life science course, and they were talking about, Joe, you know this, and Elizabeth, Chris, the disc that you put down in the water to see the clarity of the water. And I'm thinking, wait, remember you did that with the floating classroom that came in the Lake George Conservancy, and they actually go and look at the clarity of Lake George and how fortunate, what type of watershed it is. And here we are, we just make this quick reference back to my son's science curriculum, and he's like, oh yeah, I know all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you brought it to camp. So it's a really nice little mix of educational environment, expertise, passion, the love, and the side thing I like to think about also is about the small thing we haven't really talked about much is the friendships and the abilities that, I look at the people that we have here, and I look at all the campers and the staff, and in my life, and I'm sure their lives, it's a whole different level of community that you develop when you're part of a camp. And Adirondack, we really try to nurture that. We know that, and we want you to develop friendships and to meet different people. And I always say that I could probably go to most countries in the world right now and probably have a bed to sleep in. There may be a few I'd probably have trouble, but it'd be pretty close. I could probably find somebody that I knew in most countries in the world, and I think that is a great testament to the strength of camping and your friendships. And even today, some of my best friends, helping me raise my children are my friends that I've met through camp, and and helping us solve the problems as being a parent and a director and helping us grow. So I don't know. And we have any questions, Chris? I can keep going, but I think we're doing pretty well. What do you think, my friend?
We haven't got any questions yet, but what I would like to let everyone know that if they do have any questions after we're done today, they can always contact us at camp, and there are a few ways you can do that. You can either email us at info@adirondackcamp.com, or you can give us a call at camp at any time, and we will be able to answer any questions you have. And our phone number is area code 518-547-8261. So feel free to contact us if you see this after posted online and you have questions. Those are a few ways that you can reach us. You also can reach out to us through our Facebook. Also, we will answer any questions that pop up there.
Excellent. Well done. I think I don't know what else to chat on except that if as people watch this and they're sort of figure out who I am and who our group of staff is, I think I want you to come away with that. We're not only to guide you to just Adirondack, but also to any camp environment that you're looking for your child or your family to get involved in. I think it's a great experience for anybody. And if you have any questions about any environments, you have any questions about our facility versus or comparison to any other place that you're thinking of, let us know. I think we have a group of professionals that are looking, our ultimate goal is the care of children and the care and the growth of humans. And I think it's a really wonderful place that I'm associated with, and we'll see how things go. But we're heading into March right now, and it'll be a wonderful turn of the next couple of months as we go March, April, and then pretty soon we're at May. And I hope you all have a wonderful school year ending, and I hope you all stay healthy and have a great spring. So, Chris, I don't know, at this time, I'm a little early to sign off, but unless I have any questions, I'd love to, basically sign this off and have a great day with my family, because it is my daughter's 10th birthday, and if you notice, I have a dog and dancing girls behind me. It'd be nice to bop around. So what do you think, Chris? We keep rolling this? We have anybody watching? Any questions? What do you think, my friend?
I think we can go ahead and sign off a few minutes early. That's no big deal. But like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.
All right. Thank you very much. Hope all have a great time. I am going to sign out as Matt at Adirondack Camp, and stay in touch, and have a great day, and noon way, everybody.